Jai Guru, everyone.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Welcome, everybody, to Awake, the Life of Yogananda podcast. Today, we're talking about minute 17. We are always here with, like always, with Priyank and Chris. How are you guys doing today? How are you doing, Priyank?
Groovy.
Yeah? And Chris? Holding on? Yeah?
Irish means it hit 20 something degrees now, and the white.
Oh my God.
Can handle it.
Crazy.
But no, good. I'm great. Thanks.
Amazing. And today we have our guest. His name is Durga. He's dialing in from India. We got to know him because he has an Instagram account called Mahavatar Babaji, has an insane amount of followers, very popular. Hello, Durga. How are you doing?
Jai Guru. Yeah, I'm fine, sir. And how are you all?
Great, thank you.
Great. Good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, could I start with asking you a few questions, Durga? Like, whereabouts are you in India?
In India, I'm from Hyderabad.
Do you have like a big YSS presence? Do you have a big center there where you can go to?
Actually, we have 4 centers in Hyderabad, but 4 are very far for me. Mm-hmm. Usually, I visit one center. Mm-hmm. And main center is in heart of the city, a place known as Begumpet. Mm-hmm. They usually, for all the YSS members staying in Hyderabad, visit there only to buy any books or DVDs, etc.
Amazing. Yeah, as someone from Austria, I always have a hard time imagining the size of like an Indian city. Probably has more people than my country, or maybe twice the size. So you have 4 centers. That is pretty amazing. And how did you start with this Instagram account that you started? How did that come to be?
Yeah, because it's almost as big as like the whole of SRF, bigger than the YSS one, isn't it? It's massive.
Actually, usually I have a fan page of a Tollywood actor. I ran it for some days, but I didn't felt like to run it. At that time, I was in home only for many days, and I deleted that Instagram and account, and I was lying in my sofa and listening to some old songs. That time, suddenly, don't know, I felt like, why don't we create a page on Babaji? I posted one post, and 3 days I closed it. I thought, who will follow this page? It's a spiritual page. People will like meme pages or something or any trending issues. Who will look into this devotional page. After 3 days I opened and there were 30 followers and a few messages regarding Babaji, and that made me to inspire to post more and more and more. And usually for Instagram pages, people take shout outs from other pages, and they make some paid promotions also to gain followers. But here I didn't make any promotions.
Wow.
Just only 2 or 3 pages, that 2 YSS. So people only give me shout out, one YSS page, and one more is something Swami Vivekananda page. They gave me the shout out. That's enough. And slowly followers got increased, and I felt, okay, 1,000 followers are enough. Because if there are a lot of people and they won't look at the post, it's a waste of time for me and for them. And day by day, it was increasing, and even some actors are also use it to follow. And some people use it to text in Instagram saying, dash and dash actor is following you. I am a diehard fan of him or her. So and I am following you. I use it to wonder, what really they are following me, and I used it to check later, and I was amazed to see in biggest Bollywood star following this page. Many of her fans used it to message me, do you speak with her? Do you have her number? I used it to say, Hare Ram, I don't know them. They just follow. How I will have their contact? Even I have also, I can't give you without their permission.
You should.
Amazing.
And some people use it to text me. Even they were actors also. They use it to text very nicely about regarding biases or SRFs, and they used to say how Babaji helped them.
How many followers do you have now?
35.1.
Whoa, 1,000, yeah, not million.
35 means 35K means 35,000, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Later, some people use it to message me like it's very divine. We feel like we are speaking with Babaji, and some people said like the first day we are doing is opening the Instagram and looking at your post, and we feel it like a Babaji has given us the message today to read, and that made me to inspire. That inspired me a lot, and it made me to connect with more and more vices or SRF members in India and throughout the globe, not only in India, throughout the globe. There are many Westerns who are doing Kriya very sincerely than Indians. They don't have the ego which we have. Like we feel like we know everything. We have the Vedas, we have the lessons. We are from this country. We have everything. But that ego or pride is making us to downfall, and their good sense of not having the ego is making them to connect more and more with the spiritual treasures and the God and the gurus. And in one of the situations, Yogananda ji helped me to come out of the idol worship because I used to gather many idols in my home made up of bronze, copper, and silver. I used to worship them. That was a very long process I used to do. And that time how I used to feel is, for example, if I how they taught us, I mean, in my childhood, Lakshmi Devi loves jasmine, and Vishnu loves tulsi. Lord Shiva loves bilva. Ganesh loves grass, and Durga loves meat or red color food. And I use it to gather all. And for example, if I don't have the tulsi to offer to Vishnu, I use it to feel like, I didn't give tulsi to Vishnu. Now how he will be satisfied? I didn't brought the sari to Durga Ma. How will she wear the clothes? And when I started doing the meditation, that time I realized, Are Baba, there is no need of offering tulsi or sari or any kind of food. It's our heart which we should offer. It's the main thing. And usually in Indian traditions, for any puja, they offer it like from here, this Anahata Chakra point, holding like this they do. And in one of the videos, like somewhere, yeah, a spiritual counselor was saying, actually the reason offering like this is, one day while in pujas offering like this, without knowing we will offer our heart to God. Like the main meaning behind this symbol is offering our heart. And I understand. Okay, Guruji made me to come out of like he made me to cross one step, and his teachings are sometimes I use it to not understand the English very much as of now. Like in, I think Priyank sir also know very well in Indian English. Mostly we use like you, he, they. But in Guruji levels, there were words like thou, he. I used to think, what are these words like thou and thee? I'm not understanding. Who are these thou and thee? And I called one of the YSS branch near my home. They said, come better to our home. Let us discuss. And when I went home, they started explaining those lessons in my local language in Telugu. What I taught is that time they were explaining me in their own words. But after coming home, again I started reading the lessons. That time I understand. When I read, I wondered like the words which those, I mean, they explained me in Telugu was not their words. This book only they translated into Telugu and explained me very profoundly in the honks or the oh, but somehow like reading and reading and reading those books again and again, they made me to understand what me, who am I, why I should have the human experience. Sometimes I used to feel like, "Arey, why I came to Earth? If I'm like a eagle, I can fly in the heights of the sky. If I'm a dolphin, I can jump in the oceans. If I'm a beautiful banyan tree, I can situated on a beautiful landscape." And for every of my question, why says lessons has an answer in it. Very profound answer. The thing what I learned here is we need to have first one is patience. Second one is faith. Third one is doing our sadhana daily. Fourth one is regularity. Fifth one is sincerity. Sixth one is devotion. These are the 6 points which I learned.
Nice.
And
Very nice.
yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, no, it's a really good story, and I every time someone comes on here, I love to hear the story how they got on the path, because it's always unique. There's always they always felt somehow in their life that Guruji was taking control at some point once they let him, and I feel like this is what we're looking for the Guru to steer our lives towards
Recently,
our
when
final goal.
I bought this one.
Ah, beautiful.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, this is great.
For listeners, he's
Actually-
holding a nice pendant of Guruji.
And this is my Hanuman pendant.
Oh,
This
wow.
one is Hanuman
Very nice.
in a Ram Bhakti posture, like he's doing namaskara to Lord Rama.
Mm.
And this is Guruji.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice, nice. All right. So we can, I think, after the introduction, we could now start looking at minute 17 of the film, and let me summarize the minute a little bit. So it starts out with you hear the voice of Yogananda. He talks about, I'm going to paraphrase a bit, that the teachings of him are a science and not a dogma. Yoga is a science, not a dogma. He talks about the soul descending into the body, and you see him talking at first. Then you see a person sitting with a nice ocean view, possibly Encinitas. Then you see an auditorium. Then you see the auditorium empty. Then we see Masvidal talking about how this kind of message would have resonated with people in the 1920s. Then towards the end, we see people describing what God is to them, and it ends there. And let's start with this first point that Guruji makes there. He says those teachings are a science and not a dogma. Chris, what do you think about that? What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, well, I suppose just to work backwards, dogma. I think modern day people would certainly resonate in the West, at least, more with what dogma is when it comes to religion. And it's, I would suggest more, don't ask too many questions, simply have faith and, toe the line, and there's some level of preaching and reading the Bible without too much analysis. That's my own personal definition of what I think dogma probably is. and I suppose a more closed-minded thinking. But Yogananda has come in to really talk about it in a different context and bringing it into the 20th century at the time, which was the industrial boom and science and technology, which was really changing the way that we live. So, what I think about it is that Yogananda was a pioneer. I think he was somebody who is going to be remembered, in history. And I think we talked about this in the previous minute, where it's going to age really well. It's only going to get better with time, because if you talked about that in today's landscape of religious context, it would still be a difficult conversation for a lot of people. 100 years ago, it was really amazing stuff to come into the Western world with this kind of conversation. So groundbreaking, literally revolutionary, I think is a paradigm shift in the way that we would view religiosity. Is that, am I saying that correctly? And spirituality.
I'm
it's
not a native speaker here.
I'm Irish, so I don't know English. But no, it's opening doors, isn't it? And it's I think it plants the seed for an idea, and it plants that seed, and you go, well, what does he mean by that? And then you start to kind of explore yourself, which is a gift in and of itself with just a few words. So.
Priyank, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so the first few lines, Yogananda is really talking, in my mind, just really about energization. So he talks about energization and recharging your body with cosmic energy, like just as we're taught to do in our energization practices. And energization, the technique of energization allows us to take prana through our agna and kudasha and agna and the medulla and redirect it to various parts of the body or the anatomy. So he talks about that, I think, in the first few lines, and he also references like how man descended, for example, how cosmic consciousness came into man, and then us being into like relying on our senses. And now he's talking about the reversing that flow. So for example, he talks about this as meditation, but we're obviously taught this as energization, reversing that and going forward in our practices. And he says that this is the reason for all this work. The whole reason for him going to America, or him taking birth in this form, which I think is really powerful, because these things have been around for thousands of years, haven't they? Meditation, and it's been around, since Lord Shiva's time, in tens of thousands of years ago. But we've not been doing it, or we've forgotten how to do it, and hence the need for Mahavatar Babaji and our line of gurus to come and reaffirm the techniques for the modern age. And it's beautifully encapsulated in the first few lines, I think.
Yeah, I really like how he basically goes out and said, like, I have nothing to hide. I have this science that I'm bringing you, and if you apply it in your lives, then you will see direct changes. And this is what makes it a science. It's just something you can try out. It's not something that you believe and you hope for the best. But and that's scientificness. I'm not sure if that's a word, but that is something that attracts a lot of people, and that's why I think Chris said it ages really well. Durga, what do you think about this when you hear this? It's my teachings are not a dogma but a science.
Chandrasekhara Swamiji said, like, कब तक इस विश्व इस पृथ्वी में कांति होते हैं, उतना तक योगानंदा जी का कीर्ति भी होते हैं. And say, like, until the sun and moon are visible to earth, up to that time Yogananda ji's presence will be on earth.
Nice.
Yeah, and blessings as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we basically we hear Guruji talking, and then while we see him talk, we see this. There's a really nice shot of him where he's standing. Is it on a cliff or somewhere? He's looking into into the far, maybe ocean, or you don't see the other side really, but you see his eyes like locked onto something, and it's a very powerful image.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one before, Priyank?
No, I hadn't seen that. Do you think these are the kind of shots that haven't been released before, or they only like belong to the archives? Like they said that in the film, there's lots of shots and footage like this that hasn't never been released.
But
This must be one of them.
Guruji's eyes have that something magnetic power. It pulls everyone towards him.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Usually we buy the books, but in his case, it's very different. That book chooses us.
he looked at you.
Because sir, sometimes how I did is,
yes,
I use it to, like, if I go to temples or any pujas, I look at the photo or the statue of the god, and I use it to, if I, for example, I'm moving right side, I will keep my head and I will move slowly and I will observe that divine face. Sometimes I use it to watch the eyes were moving. Even sometimes in the Guruji case also it was the same, like his eyes were moving like this and like this.
yeah. I even feel like sometimes when I walk past Guruji's picture, I feel like sometimes it's a very warm smile, but sometimes it's more like a stern look. I feel like he changes his expression slightly, but it's the same picture.
It's got all the expressions within it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Sri Yukteswar is a classic case for that one, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
You can see him like disapproving sometimes. Other times, well done.
Priyank sir, in our lineage, no, I love everyone, every guru. I respect all our 6 gurus from the Krishna to Yogananda ji. But Yukteswar Giriji's photo, no, really, I get so much of fear when I look into his eyes. Like those eyes were like always burning something inside me.
I know exactly what you mean.
Discipline.
Yeah,
because
he's a disciplinarian, right?
the discipline which he given Yogananda ji, I felt like, okay, let me be in place of Yogananda ji. What I will do? Without waiting a moment, I will pack my bag and I'll go back to my home. That much strict he was. Whenever I use it or look into the eyes of Yukteswar ji, I feel like very burning sensation. Not sensation, like he's a wisdom of fire. He's like a burning fire always. Not anger, but that wisdom, burning wisdom. So only I always feel him like the Arunachaleshwara, nothing but the Ramana Maharshi stayed, no sir. Their Lord Shiva is known as Arunachaleshwara. I feel him like Arunachaleshwara sometimes. And in case of our Guruji, no, to be frank, sometimes everyone does a mistake, right? I feel like, Hammaya, I have the Yogananda ji, he will forgive me, he loves me. And immediately I feel like, what if I am in place of, if I was a direct disciple of Yukteswar ji, if I do this mistake, no, immediately I get a big slap of karma against me. Then what I would do?
But I feel like his picture also has 2 facets, right? Like I look at his picture, sometimes I feel like, oh my God, I need to do more of this or that. But sometimes I also look at it and feel like, oh yeah, he is proud of me today.
I understand. Yeah. I understand everything.
And in all of our Guru's photos, Lahiri Mahashaya photo is also very different. Like he will be always smiling, and the way Guruji described, like what we say, Lahiri Mahashaya face is like a rose color, and he has a stomach like potato color. And he has a white chest like that. I feel like when I look to him, am I looking to a grandfather whom I know?
Mm,
And
He was the
sometimes,
family man, wasn't he?
yeah.
He was the one leading
and
the way to say you could meditate and have a family at the same time.
because I visited Lahiri Mahashaya home
Oh,
in
did you? Wow.
in Kashi. When I went to Kashi, the time I visited,
How was it?
Nice.
it was nice. I went to his great grandson home.
Hmm.
There were the what we say mitti. In Hindi we say no, so mitti. I don't know. In English we say soil, right? Yeah, soil brought from Babaji cave.
Right.
The ashes of Lahiri Mahashaya ji. This was written on that Samadhi Mandir.
Yeah. What does that say? Read it if you can.
Om Samadhi Mandir. This moment contains sacred soil from Babaji's cave and ashes of the holy bodies of the Guru process, in whom the unmanifest, unnameable, unknowable divinity, the grace supreme, the essential, enduring, eternal emptiness, the all-pervading intelligence manifested, named and known as Shamacharan Lahiri, who is our Lahiri Mahashaya, and his son Tinkori Lahiri, and Lahiri Mahashaya's grandson Satyacharan Lahiri. And there was a one more thing also written there. It is
Hmm.
Ending of Sorrow, 22 July 2018. It was carved on a marble stone. Sometimes I wonder how all those who do not write, compose, or paint can manage to escape the madness, the melancholia, the panic fear which is inherent to the human condition, wrote Graham Greene in the autobiography entitled Way of Escape. It is indeed strange and surprising that even creativity has to be a curse of the mind and not a benediction of life, divinity, division-free awareness. Why all the creative expressions must emanate only as a ways of escape from mind's entanglements and not as ecstasy and euphoria of existence of life? It is unceasing amazement for a Kriyaban yogi to know that the writers, composers, and painters are only victims of madness, melancholia, panic fear, which have been considered as inherent to human beings.
Nice.
Nice. Very
Oh,
nice.
that's very beautiful. Right. And then,
Masvidal.
yeah, then we move on. Like you said, we see the auditorium, 1920s, and then Masvidal, I'm gonna paraphrase. He talks about the message of Yogananda, how it must have impressed people of the 1920s who have much less understanding of energy and yoga and spirituality as we do now. They were probably much more caught up into either not being very religious or into religious dogma than people are today, I would say. Chris, what do you think about that? I think you also mentioned earlier that there's a sizable amount of Catholics now in Los Angeles, and how would they perceive it today?
Yeah, I wondered. Fast forward 100 years, you land this rhetoric, let's say, into conversation with somebody in Los Angeles. How would it go down? Would it be better? Would it be better received? Like, would they be more open to receiving the information that Guruji is saying, that God might be found in the spine, really, through meditation and through reversing the senses, into the body to cosmic intelligence. Is this something that would be met with ridicule? Like, I was just wondering, from my circle of friends, maybe in Northern Ireland, it probably would be, to be quite honest with you. So, and I suppose I wanted to kind of highlight that there's like 3.5 million Catholics in Los Angeles. That's the largest amount of religious group. And then there's like 90,000 Buddhists and things like this, and lots of different types of Christians. But I wanted to highlight, actually, I think it probably would be better received, right? And it would be even stronger, or harder for Guruji 100 years ago to have come with this message and to highlight how grateful we are for that. But how much ground has been made since then as well. In 100 years, people know the words yoga, people know the words meditation, and people would see the change that's happened. And I think you could have more healthy conversations of exploring what is it Guruji means, and how could that be brought into your life in some way. And people do the yoga asanas without really understanding that maybe they are working with prana and the breathing techniques that we have. It's kind of part and parcel now, especially in LA, that set the scene, and there's lots of trends that come out of LA. So I think Guruji picked a really good place in LA. That's in the future today, really influential in terms of the culture of the world. It really comes from LA, if you think about it, with the United States leading the way in a lot of culture influence around the world, and through Hollywood and things like this. So, it's just to go back to what I said and we said before, it's aged really well, and I think it's only going to get better and better. So, yeah.
I wonder if Guruji's message had such a big impact on the West that if he came 100 years later, it's unimaginable now how it would be if he hadn't come in the first place, right? Like his impact was big. Like I feel like the whole spiritual vocabulary, the spirituality movements, all the different faith groups that are in there now, and especially in LA, are so big now that I feel like Yogananda coming to the West and living in Los Angeles, like started off like pushing over the first domino, and from then on, it kind of developed. Do you think it would be a different story if Yogananda arrived today and hadn't arrived 100 years ago, Priyank?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this as Chris was saying it, because when he was doing his public talks, and back then when he came to 1920s, he did things in a very dramatic way. Like he created posts, like he took pictures of him sitting on an alligator, which we saw, and he had people on the auditorium where we would display your yogic powers. But now all of that's like had its impact, right? So people know the power of yoga now. So he wouldn't need to take that approach. He could take a much more esoteric, he could take much more like metaphysical approach, much more subtle approach. And I think he would need to, because people in today's LA and today's London, they wouldn't respond so well to that, shiny stuff. It's much more subtle, isn't it?
Interesting. Yeah, he would probably be adapt to the local culture, but the local culture is different, so he would do that in a different way as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It also made me think of what our guest, previous guest of Verdant Sunny, talked about. The difficulty in California, it seems it's quite prevalent for people to be very lonely and have lots of anxiety and depression and suffer mentally a lot. And it struck me, from Guruji's message, really, God being maybe in the spine, you can access through scientific processes and meditation this idea of God. What would people who are in a place of severe loneliness and depression think? If you could give them that key, is that not something spectacular beyond words? Because you're never alone, really. You've got infinity, say, within you, and it's something that I think is the answer to so many people's problems in today's world, where they're disillusioned, disconnected, without the sense of community and God, as we've talked about in previous episodes, with Nietzsche saying God is dead. This is something really that it's right in front of them. It's right in front of so many people. Unfortunately, we need to do some deal of suffering before we can get to the answers, it seems. So it just made me think of that, really, listening to the significance of Guruji's coming with this message and the suffering that so many people are experiencing today.
Yeah, the thing is, I think you first have to make a bit of an effort before you feel a real connection with your guru or God, right? Might also have to do with like Durga said earlier, that some people prefer living guru to someone who lived a long time ago, because I feel like connection is something that you build up over time. You worship your guru, you do the practice, you do all the techniques, and then once you feel this, it's such a treasure, right? But it's something that, I don't know, it's like I don't think everyone is open for this yet. Maybe there's still some, like you said, Chris, some convincing still needs to be done, or we need to feel really bad before we start doing this. One interesting question I just thought of that I want to ask Durga is, what do you think would it be like if Yogananda only came in this time now to India? What would that be like? What do you think? What an impact
2020?
make there?
Sorry, in this 2021?
2021.
No, actually from last year I was in home only, no.
I know,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
true.
know
Every
exactly
day
what you mean.
same.
I know exactly what you mean.
Now, currently in this 2021, I think that time only is better, because nowadays in India it's very, what we say, very more of corruption. People are not pure like in olden days. In olden days they used to treat very well for a guru. Nowadays it's like disciple is only having the head weight. For example, let us think a guru is financially low and disciple is very, we say, is very rich. So in olden days, they used to donate those money to his guru as a service. But nowadays, what they do is they donate to their guru and they say, we gave to our guru this much, he will listen to us, he's ours. But I think not only for this year, even if he is alive now also, Guruji is always eternal. He gave us more advanced than spiritual technology, which is more advanced since ancient times. I think if he is physically there right now, it would be very happy for us, because at least once in our lifetime we would have met him, and we would have touched his holy lotus feet and would take his blessings. Because after, for example, we did our sadhana for a few years, there is no result. With his touch also, we may get liberated, because we don't have that chance now because he's astrally. But being astrally is more beneficial than physical, because Guruji also said when he left to America for 30 years, he is not having any physical connection with his Guru Yukteswarji. But he used to receive everything astrally only from him, everything in that 30 years. And that no same thing is happening to all the devotees of Yogananda ji. Maybe something our karma that made us to born in these late times. Oh, sorry. Yeah, in this late times only. I don't know if late time or late times only.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Yogananda was also, the time he lived in was not the easiest time either, right? But he just describes his life, especially the autobiography of a yogi,
but,
as such easy.
Whenever
such a breeze. He had like World War One, World War Two, Great Depression. He had like the whole.
Sometimes I wonder
to travel.
how such a loving guru we are having, because he left the world, that's fine. But before he left the world, he gave us everything, whatever we need. The family, I mean the organization, vices, SRF, his teachings, books, devotional chants, healing techniques, energization exercise, food diets, everything. Almost he gave everything which he has. He kept nothing with him. And he says only one thing: do the sadhana, prayers will look at you. That's the only thing he always says in the lessons also.
Mm,
Only sadhana, devotion, love, faith, sincerity. Prayers will only take you to me.
nice.
And if you do the kriyas sincerely, automatically I and all the gurus are with you. If you go to an orphan and ask what you feel like your parents, of course they say if my parents are alive, that would be very beneficial for me. Yeah, no, we are not orphans. He is always with us. Maybe even he don't know. I'm getting cry.
Oh,
If he is physical, it would be very different from now, because we would get the letters from him and we would store them in our altars and almaras.
Mm.
So, don't know, sir. Yeah.
Seems like he's very physically present, Durga. But I was going to say, some people have in some parts, they have the guru in this life, and I've
Yeah.
noticed with those devotees, they're very, uh, their mind is very attached to being in the physical presence. So more so than the sadhana and stuff. Oh, I must go see Guru. I need to take his darshan. I need to be there, rather than really he's omnipresent, isn't he? Even if he's in this present form
Yeah,
physically,
yeah.
or if he's in the astral form, he's omnipresent. So we're forced into this beneficial position of imagining him in our mandir or our meditation room at
Yeah,
home
yeah,
or in
yeah.
our
Yes,
house.
sir.
So it's actually for us, I think there's a benefit. There's a big benefit as well compared to the other side.
And one more thing is, uh, those people, I don't know, those people will be getting spiritual scoldings if he is alive. I mean, if he is physically there,
Physical, yeah.
we are maybe somewhat lucky, I guess. And if he is if he, if he is physically, we all need to visit. But being in astral form, he is only visiting us daily. Whether you are in your sadhana or you are in your office or college, you are playing in garden, you are cooking, you are eating, or whether you are in bathroom too. Because I remember a small spiritual counsel regarding my sadhana. In my initial days, I called to one of the senior member in vices and asked, my parents are not allowing me to do my sadhana. What should I do? Then he said, go to bathroom and do. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And I was shocked. What, sir? Bathroom is a dirty place. How can I do there? Our world is more dirty than the bathroom.
Oh
There
yeah.
we get the smell, and here we don't get that smell. That's all he said.
oh, nice. So I'm also being a bit mindful of time. The last scene in the movie, then there's like a few people who come on and they explain what God means to them. There's like it started out with being unfathomable. Oh, I didn't say that well. Unfathomable. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Then one of the people says God is a she, which I like a lot, which is something that I don't know, maybe it's because of the language, but I always refer to him as him as rather than her, but it should be both, right? What does God mean to you, Chris? Putting you on the spot now.
Oh, what a hospital pass! I think that is the
have-
biggest hospital pass in the history of this podcast.
Unless
I
you
have,
get a
I have,
really, really good answer. Yeah.
Oh, he's got an essay question prepared.
No.
We don't need a comprehensive explanation. Or we
Yeah.
just
No, I want a comprehensive.
A sentence, a short sentence. Just summarize it. Just summarize God. Yeah. Okay.
like they do in the film. Just a little glimpse. What
Yeah, go on.
shines
Yeah,
out to
do
you
it.
right now.
Unknown. No, I would like to say, when I grew up, I always did struggle with the concept of God, because growing up in Northern Ireland, it was, do you follow the Protestant faith or the Catholic faith? And they said, well, let's start by saying, what is God? Like, what are we doing? What are we agreeing to? And so many people mindlessly go into religious kind of mindsets. So I always kind of struggled with it, because I think the joke here is like, oh, God is some white guy with a big beard sitting on a throne in the clouds. And so that, we're made in his image, so you must look human. But I never really bought into it. And I mean to say that I always wanted to know truly what is God, who is God, what is the concept. The thing that really made the penny drop for me was the first time I heard cosmic intelligence, those two words. And I thought, wow, there's two words put together that I've never heard done before. And God is literally in everything, isn't it? God is the body of the cosmos. It might be seen as God's body, and the idea of God's intelligence being incorporated into everything, as well as, as we say, nothing. And the idea is just beyond, I guess, the grasp of my mind and imagination to a degree. But I suppose when we try to get to know God, we're trying to get to know love. So God, for me, is love. That's how I can describe it. But don't ask me to describe love.
Beautiful. I was gonna, but then I won't. Okay. Same hospital pass to Priyank.
In Hindus, we have a very easy answer to that question. We can just say Satchitananda, as so Durga Prasad said, which is ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss consciousness. Nice. What that means, well, we can experience some of it in meditation.
I think that can be experienced only in meditation.
Yeah. Yes.
Durga, you, in 5 words, how would you describe God? 5 words or less.
5 words. Like in my own way, like describing God means, in one way, it's like Gandhiji word, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva, like servicing human is the worshipping the divine one, and Guruji's love, loving others, same like us, in easy way. Jesus said in Bible, like, love others like you love yourself. That. And third one is always thinking of God, chanting of God, being with God. That's the only thing which makes us connected with God. And of course, Kriya as a tool to remove those obstacles. Fourth one is charity, donating some food. Last one is doing our Guru given sadhana. Sorry, it's not last one. It should be in the first one, but in my list, I'm saying it as the last. Because only that Guru given sadhana can teach us, make us, feel us. Who is God? What is God? Where He is? Who He is? These were the 5 which I can say.
Nice.
Thank you. So I think this wraps up our minute. Is there anything we want to add still?
No, just thank you for Durga Prasad for coming. It was brilliant having you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was
No.
going to say that as well. I want to thank you, Durga. And I still want to mention again your Instagram account, Mahavatar Babaji on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so for inviting me. Really feeling blessed to connect with you all 3. I am somewhere in India and you're somewhere in London.
4 oceans cross us.
Yes. And yet we're together.
Really, technology is helping everyone in this pandemic.
Yeah. Chris, any last thoughts?
I think earlier on, maybe we didn't touch on it. It said Yogananda talked about the purpose, having the purpose, our purpose, being on the planet, and really it was essentially to know the cosmic energy coming through the earth and the body and the senses. But as we talked about, the reversal of that is, I would say, Yogananda, what he preaches or talks about really is to do that, reverse this energy, reverse that. And that's how you know God, and that's how you get to God. I just wanted to highlight that again, because that to me is, so many people walk around, needing a sense of purpose and meaning to life. And I guess it's all already within you, right? And we can fabricate some meaning and purpose in so many other areas in an infinite way. But in the simplicity of what Yogananda said, you would almost skip past it, and we almost did there. So I just wanted to go back and highlight that. It's really beautiful, and grateful for Yogananda showing that way and that path. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.